Perfectionism is destroying your productivity. Today, we are going to discuss about how perfectionism can actually be detrimental for you. We'll unfold that it probably is not the right thing for you. The reason being, we all think being perfect is probably the go-to thing, but the moment you are only striving for perfectionism, you're ending up wasting a lot of your time. Hello everyone, this is Kapil Reddy, founder and CEO of Zupali. The whole idea behind this video series is we want to promote learning and productivity in our day-to-day life. So we are trying to bring in those topics where we are going wrong, and once we practice these small things, we can be much more productive. The whole idea of being productive is it will give you back your time. And as I keep stressing on it, time is the most important thing and we cannot lose it. The better we get at it, the more time we'll have to accomplish more things. So that's the whole idea why we're doing this video series. And thanks for all the amazing feedback which you've been giving. So in this video, again, we've come up with this new topic and let's get into it. So as I told, it's probably a bold statement, but usually this is what a perfectionist will usually strive for. Always waits for the right moment, never makes a mistake, and always needs more time. But by the end of the day, life is all about work and outcomes. Everybody is only bothered about the result. They want to see the outcome. You just keep telling that I'm just trying to perfect it. They're not bothered, they just lose interest. What they really care about is what is the outcome. And as a perfectionist, you can keep striving for it. And as I told, it will just drain your energy, drain your resources, most importantly, drain your time. And there is nothing like perfectionism that exists in the real world, given all the timelines and deadlines we have. Yes, 100% we should achieve for perfectionism, but provided we have enough time for it. If you're not having enough time, or if you're just racing against time, we cannot afford to be perfect. Yes, that should be the aspiration, but do not wait for everything to be just perfect, because there are so many things outside of your capabilities which can actually ruin your perfectionism. And that is what you need to avoid at any cost. There are two types of perfectionists that exist. One who never starts because he or she is actually waiting for the right time. They're just thinking, okay, let me do this, let me do that. They're trying to be perfect, but because of that, it will only make them a procrastinator. And they just don't start on time, and they're just ending up not actually starting something on time. The second type of person is the one that sets his goals too high. Yes, these are the people who work very hard, but because of the kind of goals they set up, which are just too high, and a standard of goals are just, pretty unimaginable, because of which they're not able to achieve what they set out for. So these are the two types of perfectionists that exist in this world. So however, as I told, perfectionism is definitely not bad. It's all about how far or how faster can we actually achieve those goals in the given time frame. And if you only focus on the perfectionism part, I'm pretty sure you'll have to compromise on the time and the goals you set for yourself, which is also not good, right? As I told, the world only cares about the outcomes. They don't really care about all the effort you put in to get that perfect product. They only see the outcome, like, is that perfect product something they're able to use it or not? And for that to happen, you should be very, very aware of what is it that you're trying to do, how are you trying to cater it, and in what timeline. For that to happen, be super perfect about the time, so that you won't end up losing your time in achieving this perfectionism. By now, you must be thinking, how do I get out of this nasty habit of being a procrastinator or trying to be a perfectionist without bothering about the timelines? And that is what we want to discuss. See, because initially everybody is very excited, very energized that you have set out to achieve this goal. Because of that, there's a lot of energy, but over a time, if you're not able to see the outcome, and all thanks to your perfectionism, you're just trying to do the same thing again and again, it will probably demotivate you. Not just you, but probably people who are working with you. Over a time, that motivation dies down, and you'll end up thinking that, is it the right thing to do? And you'll have your self-doubt as well, like, am I doing the right thing? Or maybe my approach is wrong, or people aren't believing in me. All these things put together will only demotivate you, and it'll bring you down or bring your confidence completely down. And it's very, very difficult for you to again regain your confidence. So for that reason, try to have that realistic deadlines and realistic timelines under which you want to achieve this perfect product. Again, as I told, perfect product is something which you can discount depending on the need and the outcomes you've promised. So there are three simple techniques you can follow to avoid this trap of perfectionism. The first one is finding the right balance. So rather than, phrasing it like, okay, I want to be this perfectionist, try to see or rephrase it saying that this is what I want to do in my way. I think that gives you a lot more power. At the same time, it will help you to not go into this loop of perfectionism. As I told, by all means, I'm saying again, perfectionism is actually good provided you have unlimited time and there are no realistic expectations on the outcomes. But it's highly impractical, right? We all are in the zone of deadlines and we need to finish certain things by this timeline. For that reason, have this balance of mind, and that can only achieve once you rephrase it in your mind and see that, okay, maybe it's not a perfect product, or maybe it's not something I wish to have, but at least it's something which is done in my way. So in this way, you can actually achieve a right balance. And that will help you to achieve things much faster. The second point is embrace the flow. Unless we say that, okay, unless I finish this, I cannot move on to the next, that's it. That will lead to the road of failure. Because as I told, there's just a lot of moving parts, especially if you're working together in a team or you're working together as a group. There's just too many dependencies. And if you are just stuck in this point saying that unless I finish this, unless this is achieved to the perfect touch point, we cannot move on to the next things. That will only hamper your process. And it will be detrimental for the entire team, and it will only lead to unnecessary arguments, and then everything will fall apart. You shouldn't get into that zone. So please try to get into the flow. That flow can happen, as I told, if there has to be some compromise. It's totally fine. Yes, I think once you achieve the perfect product, it can enhance the user experience. But that is something you can always do. It's not like only in this first iteration you have to do. Because that's how products are built, right? So products keep evolving over time. It's not like whatever first version you've put in is not the final thing. Just look at some of these big companies, let's say Facebook, Twitter, or any of Google, in fact. All of this, just look at their first versions and look at them how they are right now. So that itself is a clear example that there isn't like a perfect product on day one. It's all like a constant evolution, and things keep evolving at a faster pace. And always look at the bigger picture so that you're not stuck in this loop of perfectionism right at the start, which can be quite detrimental for you and for your team as well. So finally, the third simple point is always learn to say, this is good enough. I think that's the magic word, where at least you should be aware, like, when do you think this is good enough? As I told, whatever we set out to do, make sure it's actually passing that threshold of satisfaction. So as long as you think this version of the product, like whatever we've just built, is actually helping users, fine, just ship it. And you be aware, like, okay, this is probably good enough, but never lose sight of your bigger goal, which is to make a perfect product. So my whole point is, a perfect product never exists on day one. I keep repeating it again because that's where a lot of people get stuck. They only feel, okay, let's say if I build this feature, or if I do that, if I do this, no, it will not happen. It's just like an endless loop and you're just getting trapped into it. So whatever you think in the basic version of it, if it's satisfying the user needs, just try to ship it. As I told, if you are a project leader or if you are running the particular team, make sure you are aware of when to say this is good enough, because that will help the team to not get blocked on certain things, and you can all focus on this common goal, which is to achieve an incredible outcome. And that incredible outcome can only get better and better if you have the user feedback or user insights. Those insights can be gotten if you have shipped the product. If you're not shipping the product, if you're just keeping it to yourself and you're feeling that, okay, I'll just try and get this perfect product, it will never happen. So try to avoid that. In this way, I want to conclude by saying that yes, perfectionism is 100% something we all should aspire for. But it's also a sweet trap for you where you'll get stuck up and you'll not end up doing things which you set out to do. And that can be detrimental as well. In order to avoid the trap, there has to be a fine balance. And those are the 3 tips which I've given. And then once you start following it, things will be a lot more easier for you. And you are not trapped in this trap of perfectionism. But I want to again reiterate saying that perfectionism is 100% good. But it's not always like whatever you ship in the first version, that's not the end of it. Products, ideas, everything keep evolving. If you're only focused on, okay, let me be perfect on day one, that will never happen. You're just losing your time, energy, and motivation from the rest of the people who are cheering up for you. So always try to ship that product or whatever you want to set, or let's say you are writing a book. Just try to put out the first draft. Don't wait for the perfect thing. So that is never going to happen. Especially if you are under timelines and pressure from rest of the other corners. Yeah, this is it for this week. I hope this was useful. So try using the simple ideas. I'm pretty sure you'll be super happy. Until then, have a great week. We'll see you next week with another topic. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.